Hey everyone, it's Alexis. I am back with a brand new video. Happy Monday. Thank you for being here. And today I am talking about a client who very recently, 3 days ago, in session told me about a huge breakthrough she had. Can't wait to share it. It deals with SP relationship, changing the version of him. Some really outstanding things happened also that I just thought we could all get kind of a chuckle out of. All right. Before I get started, the links for booking one-on-one coaching, one-on-one hypnosis, all of my pre-recorded hypnosis audios and courses are in the box below. And you guys, thanks for being here. It is the month of October. So it's the spooky month. It's just the start of the Halloween month. And also we are embarking soon on the holidays, which is Halloween. If you are in the United States, we have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and let's really focus on creating the concept of you that is fulfilled, happy, receiving communication from your person as we move into this season, just as a preface, okay? So you guys, what is so funny about this client is she left me with a quote to tell everyone because she didn't write in an actual formal success story, you know, like the Dear Alexis one. She's one of my clients who she considers to be like in the middle of the manifesting. She's changing her person, seeing a lot of evidence. We're working together to really stay on track, but she doesn't really want to write in the formal success story. But I asked her, I said, can I share what's going on with you with in a video? Because it's so spectacular. It's also like, that's what it was too. Kind of spooky. Okay. Not spooky in like the weird haunted house kind of sense, but in the, oh my gosh, like this is really how we create our reality. Is this really happening? Like what? Okay, kind of thing. Like a Twilight Zone moment, but in a really, with this client, a really good way. Okay, so she left me with this quote that I wrote down, which says, I can't believe it's happening. Please tell everyone the details. Just keep confidential on who I am. You guys, manifesting is insane. It's crazy. I love it. Okay. Okay. So first of all, her backstory with her person is that her person is her husband. Now, I've done a lot of success stories about people who have been in their 3D reality, a broken marriage, midlife crisis, things like that. She is of that camp. And before we began coaching, he was living separately. She has manifested that he has come back and moved back in, and they're reconciling and everything. But I want to say that a big caveat to that was even when he moved back in, it wasn't enough because he was still engaging in so many behaviors and so many things that really ticked her off. Okay. She said that I could freely share as long as I keep it confidential. I think everyone says that just out of the, you know, it's like when you tell your girlfriend something or a friend and you're like, hey, just don't tell anybody. It's like you kind of have to say that. I always keep things super confidential. So nobody knows who anybody is. But if you guys could all be friends, you could all laugh about your SPs. Okay. So the funny thing is that he was doing, you guys, so many things that bothered her. So many things. Like I tried to make a list during session, but I couldn't because I ran out of paper. Okay. He didn't take out the trash. He didn't do the dishes. He didn't care for the two kids. They have two daughters together. He wasn't doing anything, wasn't showing up, didn't take her out on dates, didn't plan vacations, didn't. Okay. It even was about car, not washing the car, not cleaning things up, not putting himself together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then something I've heard from clients over the years is, okay, well, so if he's not doing that, what is he focused on? He's very focused on work, focused on spending time with his buddies, focused on spending time. There was no, I'm being honest here, there was not a third party in this scenario. Okay. But the third party was like his work schedule, their other car, like he has a weekend driver kind of car. He's a guy's guy. He has a car he only drives on Saturdays and Sundays. And he would spend like hours researching the car. He would go to places and talk to people about the car. He would go to car shows. She wouldn't be invited. She's at home with the kids. You can see how this whole dichotomy led her to be very resentful, very frustrated, feeling like her needs aren't being met. And very little was happening for her in the scenario that she was happy about. Okay. Very, very little. She was also not sleeping consistently. And she was having a lot of anxiety and having a really difficult time finding time to take care of herself because she was working remotely. She works from home. And then she off and on takes care of their two daughters. She has a nanny. It's a very, I think it's a very actually like typical scenario that I see a lot of in the 3D reality, even of people that I don't have as coaching clients. It just kind of this sort of happened. It was over years and years and years of knowing each other, having 2 kids, that again, right, she created this, but that the dynamic was just, even though he had moved out, he had moved back in. All the way that he was when he moved back in was the same version that he was before, right? So she had manifested him to come back, but it still wasn't good enough. She was still feeling like, again, her needs weren't being met. Okay. So you want to be very clear with yourself. If this is you, that's okay. It's something that I see a lot of with couples, SP, their loved ones. A lot of people create a marriage where there is one person that does everything, the other person doesn't do enough, and the person that's taken on the role of I do everything, I take care of the kids, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, also tends to micromanage the other person, and it pushes the other person away. Okay. So if this is you, then wow, let's let her success story and the funny intricacies about it and the details about it be a wake-up call for you to, number one, take better care of yourself somehow, some way, and to begin putting yourself first. The biggest theme with her and with anyone that I've ever coached and with clients like this is not really being able to put yourself first and to even know what that looks like. Okay. And she was a woman in this scenario. Okay. So she had done, and guys could do these things too, but she had done a lot of self-care practices like getting her nails done, going to the spa, going to the gym, going to Pilates. She was also very beautiful and very fit. Okay. So she hadn't like neglected herself and stopped taking care of herself outwardly, physically, with her activities and her actions. But the place where she wasn't able to really take care of herself was within. And there's a client recently that I said, all those cliches that we hear about, happiness is an inside job. No one can give you happiness. Those are still true, you guys, even though you're consciously manifesting and creating your reality, right? I also want to say too, that this week and last week, and off and on, there are periods of time where I hear a lot of things that manifestation coaches out in the world, like on TikTok or whatever, are saying, and telling people to take a bunch of action, do a bunch of things. I'm really, really, really wholeheartedly in contradiction with most of it, you guys, because it doesn't get you to be in the reality of your choosing. And people aren't changing their thoughts and changing their stories when they're doing that. You have to change the story of you and be able to be the version of you and be in the scenario that you want first before it happens, systematically persisting in that chosen state of being, because nothing can happen with your person in your reality unless it comes from you and you choose differently and you think differently and therefore you manifest it differently, right? So that's my whole opinion on that whole thing. Okay. So if you're watching my video, I intend that it's enlightening and it helps you get some clear focus and also tools to use for better self-care, self-management, because I had to have her do that, right? We need you to be in a stable, secure, more balanced, calm, self-valuing, not self-sacrificing, self-valuing way, and taking care of yourself first, moment to moment, and learning the habit of doing so. There are a lot of people also that I see for like the first couple of sessions who are very, very, very anxious about their scenario, very anxious about the person, whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, even if you haven't met the person, that relationships pose a lot of anxiety, worry, and fear for people. Okay. And that's because of the negative conditioning, the negative programming that a lot of us have and the role that we take on. Okay. Because I said to her, okay, how did it become that you do everything and you labeled yourself? Because it was this whole story. I do everything. He doesn't do enough. I have no time for myself. I don't really matter. The girls matter. The kids matter. He doesn't do enough. Even when he is doing more, it's not enough. And this guy was also providing financially. They both had careers, but he also was doing things. But the thing is that she couldn't see what he was doing, even the good things, because she was so caught in the resentment, the frustration, the irritation, anger, and it bordered on hatred towards the guy. Okay. Her husband. Okay. Now, did they ever have a divorce? No, but it was pretty much a quasi separation where he was living somewhere else, so let's just take the marriage divorce out of the whole thing. If you're someone that is divorced from your person, you can get remarried. It's no problem. People get divorced and get remarried all the time. It happens. Even as I've been doing this video, how many people around the world have been divorced? They got remarried. Okay. And I don't know, what's it been? 10 minutes? Okay. So anyways, just because I can just imagine people listening to this and being like, oh, well, my scenario is so much worse because we're actually divorced, but it's not. Okay. The answer for a lot of people comes down to self-care with thought and persisting in thoughts of I matter, I'm important, I'm the creator of my reality, so therefore I am reclaiming my birthright of being God, being the creator. If I am God, and if I'm a spark of God and I'm the creator of my existence, then guess what? I matter just because of those things. I don't matter. We don't matter because we should, or because it should be given to us, or people should take care of us, or whatever. It's not about that. It's about deciding who am I being and who am I being with him, right? So this funny thing would happen too, that happens with a lot of my clients. She began talking about him and she would like Jekyll and Hyde switch, right? She'd be talking about her kids and about career, her girlfriends, her parents. The moment she brings up him, she would switch into being with me, frustrated, irritated, and annoyed. And I said, hold on a minute. Do you realize energetically as you began talking to him that you switched into the angry, irritated, frustrated, annoyed version of you? And I said, so is that what he triggers? Like when he comes home from work, is that how you're being? She said, well, yeah, like the moment he comes in the door, I'm already annoyed. It's like he's already done something wrong. I'm already so mad. He's already. Okay. And I said, oh, okay. Well, that shows us that we need to shift that. I said, if you continue thinking, I don't matter, I'm not important, he doesn't do enough, expecting and anticipating bad things to happen and for him to take you off, that's what he's going to do. She's one of those clients that like I have a water bottle. I need like a gavel with, okay? If you don't know, I don't know if I've said this in a video, but I grew up in a family of law attorneys. So like, it's very funny now that I use the gavel analogy. That's probably where it comes from. But I have never had a career as an attorney. Okay. And neither of my parents were judges. It's just an analogy. So in any event, the answer here for me was simple. For her, I said, he's in the house. We need you to begin thinking of him differently. And now if you begin thinking of him differently, he's doing more things. I gave her examples. He's doing more things. Let's even think the opposite specifically. He takes out the trash. He does this. He makes more time for me. He gives me a day off. He takes the kids, yada, yada, yada. I said, so what comes in? What's the version of him that comes in? Well, Alexis, I mean, if you had known him for as long as I have, you would know and you would understand. He always puts himself first. All he does is work, yada, 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 yada. Now, at like adjective number 10, right? And this was like session 3 or 4. When she was describing him, finally, she hit on something that was a scenario of a long time ago, of something that happened with his family, and something someone had said about him being the youngest, him being the baby of the family, him always thinking everyone else does everything. There was this whole story. And I said, wait a minute. Is that who you still think he is? Somehow, some way in here. Do you still associate to him as being the youngest, being the baby? Everyone does everything for him. And this guy was like, he's like almost 50. Okay. I said, so, but are you? Now I said, no, it would not be crazy or illogical if you thought this, because you did hear it from people that had been around him even longer, because it was from his family. My hair is just out of control today with the frizz. Okay. I said, if you think of him this way, it's okay. Like, but I need to know, we need to get to the bottom of it. She said, well, Alexis, I'm doing all my affirmations. We don't have to get to the bottom of it. Okay. And I said, yeah, we do. So tell me more about the scenario. What was said? When was it said? And I said, because if we hold him to be that version within ourselves, there's no way for him to, you guys, I thought I just had another earthquake here. I had an earthquake during session with someone like a month ago. She said, I was so calm the whole time, but like the computer was shaking. If there's I work in our back house on our property. If there is an earthquake, then the computer will shake. The room will shake. I will be fine. I was fine the first time. That'd be very funny. If it happened during a video, my videos are, I hit record and I'm my authentic self, and I would not record a new one. You guys would get to see an earthquake. First time for everything. Let's intend though that it happens outside the video. Okay. So in any event, I said, no, we got to get to the bottom of this. You can't just be doing a bunch of blanket affirmations and be thinking. This is what he's doing. If the version of him that you're holding within you about him wouldn't do it anyways. I said, so we need to be thinking. Now, this was when she had a breakthrough. Okay. We need to be thinking. He is mature. He loves taking care of you. He loves taking care of the girls. He loves being a father. He loves being a husband. And already she rolled her eyes. Okay. And I said, let me tell you more about this. And I began telling her like who he could be, right? How she could think and associate to him. And again, I said that word mature. She said, well, but he's the youngest. And I said, yeah, I get it. But we need to decide that he's a different man now. And I said, you can go ahead thinking he's immature, he's the baby, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's contradictory to all of it. And I said, you have two babies, you have your daughters. You don't want to be married to a baby or a child, right? She had created kind of like a man child, is how she always talked about him. You know that term, man child? It's kind of how he was. Okay. Now I said, you got to think of him as mature. Even think of him the way that you think of the oldest sibling in the family, put together, mature. But, let's add some things like he likes it. He's in a good mood. He loves doing things around the house. We always do everything together. Okay. Now, it was 24 hours after that session that she said that he came out of the bathroom and he had shaved all of his beard off. Now, he's never done this. He has had facial hair and had a beard. This was the very first spooky thing. Okay. Is he came out of the bathroom and he looked like, she said he looked like, and she actually showed me in session pictures, right? She was like, what? Hello? And she actually screamed. She was like, oh my God, hello? Like, are you okay? And anyways, she said that he looked like she said he looks like the mature grown-up version. Like he went from looking like he could, I don't know, be like in some other kind of job to like working on Wall Street or something that required a suit. Okay. And she looked at me, I looked at her and I said, oh, it's on. It's all coming together. I said, do you see how associating to him as being a mature grown-up man, it is the key to everything. And it's the key, you guys, to manifesting your specific person to be and feel and give you the feeling and be the person that you want them to be in reality. And this is the thing. If you're married to someone or you have a long-term relationship with someone or even a new relationship with someone and you've heard who they were before from their family, you really have to mute all that stuff out and decide who they are for you instead. The easy workaround for this too is deciding that for me, they're different. It's different with me. For me, they are mature. For me, I'm the one that changes them and everyone sees them as a changed person too. But I get to experience the version of them that I am choosing, I am picking, I am associating to. Okay. So like that was the first very spooky thing that happened. And he's never, like, she showed me photos. Okay. And it was like he had a full grown beard, but like hair, like overgrown everywhere. And then all of a sudden he looked and it was like, I think he in between might have gotten a haircut or something. It was like he went from being, like handsome to being like super tidy, mature guy. He even looked that way. Okay. And then he told her that she was going to have a day off, like over the weekend. He was like, nope, I'm going to take the girls. We're going to go to the park. We're going to go to lunch. I think you need some alone time. This is what we're doing. This is what's happening. That was the second spooky thing. She said, Alexis, he's telling me what's going on. He's telling me what we're doing. And I just like, what am I supposed to do? Like I said, you got to receive it. You got to receive it and know that this is a reflection of you reclaiming that you're the creator of your reality, that you matter, that you're important, and that everything or things get done for you. If you're in a relationship with someone and you've taken on the role of I do everything, I have to bust my back to work and the house and the kids and the this and the that usually comes from a deep-seated assumption that we don't matter. And it's been passed down with some families or just belief systems. Like your mom was like that. Your mom's mom was like that. And then all you've done is taken on the same persona of like, he doesn't do anything. He never puts in an effort. I do everything. The other day I heard something like, oh yeah, my husband wouldn't even get a jacket for my child. He would never even think of that. And it was, the head bobbing thing. Okay. So know that you guys, you can change this. You can choose differently, and you can finally receive the version of your specific person that you're wanting, needing, but it comes from not wanting, not needing it, and focusing within on who are they. I determine who they are. Who are they underneath all the thoughts? If you're doing constant conscious creation and affirmations, who is the person? Who's the version underneath all the affirmations? Who do you really believe them to be? Right. Now, it takes me a while these days to get to that with people because they're just so versed on, like, Alexis, these are my affirmations. This is what I'm thinking. I need some motivation. Right. But I always want to know, who is that person? Who have you created them to be that's so solidified within you? Because who they are in your imagination is who they end up being outside of you. Okay. Now, so there was this situation where he shaved off. Okay. And even his daughters didn't recognize him for a second. Like, that is how big of an energy switch and a whole change it was. Okay. And the third thing is, he said he was going to sell this car. Okay. Now, the car, in my opinion, for her was like a third party. He's had multiple weekend cars over and over again. If you're a car person or a car guy or car gal, you realize that if you love a vehicle and you're deciding to sell it, it comes from a thought that you have within you of, like, oh, I don't have time for this or something. And that's what he ended up saying. He ended up having a big confession about, hey, I'm so sorry. I know I haven't put enough time into you. I think it's really time that I move on from having this vehicle. I think it's really time that I move on. I make better choices for my weekends, and I'm not going to be going to so many car shows. I'm so sorry. I realize I moved back in. It's been kind of rocky, yada, 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 yada. So from the idea that you create your reality, it's not, I guess that's spooky, but you guys, this happened like back to back to back. Okay. And he's also decided he's keeping all this hair off his face. Like, he likes this clean cut version all within himself. And he even told her, wow, I feel like a brand new guy. I feel like a brand new man. Okay. Now she's thinking in her mind, he is a brand new guy. He is a brand new man. So if this isn't proof that your thoughts create, like, I don't know what is. Just like her, you can be a success story. But how do we do that? We have to get clear on, who am I? Who does he trigger me to be? If I am frustrated, annoyed, and irritated, you want to start doing things that are outside the box of the conscious manifesting. If you're a conscious manifester, great. Fantastic. You know that your thoughts create, you understand reality comes from you. But if you're getting caught in all those negative emotions so quickly with the person, we need to do other things, focusing on yourself thriving, doing deep breathing, changing your state of being, changing your energy so that, no, we're not frustrated, irritated, annoyed, and expecting the worst. When you expect the worst, you create the worst. You create what you don't want. Okay. Get out of this idea. Now, it's so funny, you guys, because I'm a law of assumption coach over here, right? Law of assumption coach, hypnotherapist. Get out of the idea of this. I'm doing law of assumption now. So, like, I get it. Like, I found law of assumption. Okay, you found this. What a lot of people are doing is finding this information and not putting it into practice when the going gets tough, right? When you are triggered to be the old you and it's so difficult to choose differently about you, that is the time to do it. It's not watching a bunch of videos, getting a bunch of information, law of assumption, getting new affirmations. I'm going to switch my affirmations. No, your reality comes down to you. You are the god, goddess of your experience. Just from that standpoint, it doesn't need to be so difficult or complicated or like you're doing something to get something. It's, no, I am being who I want to be first. I am being fulfilled, valued, loving my life, that I am appreciated, I am adored, and I actually get to do less and receive more. I'm taking care of myself. I'm putting myself first moment to moment. That was something else, to go back to what I had said earlier that I had her do. I said, you're wanting him to do everything for you, but you're not doing enough for yourself. He can't give you something you don't have. So how can we, with your busy schedule throughout the day, get you to check in with yourself and give yourself whatever you're needing? And you guys, most of the time when you begin doing this, it's like, oh, I'm going to get a glass of water. What do I want to do? I'm going to watch 10 minutes of my favorite show while I have my lunch, right? Making yourself put things into your day that show you and tell you, because your mind is listening, that you matter and that you're important. So therefore, you're not getting into a state of being depleted, drained, and feeling like, you're just doing more. We want to stop doing that and start being. being differently, making time for you, taking time for rest, and knowing like, yes, I can come back to doing that later, because your thoughts create. The more annoyed and irritated that you are with things you're doing, the more of that we create. Okay. So like it's all unfolding for her. She was so cute during session and so thankful that I pushed her and pushed her and pushed her to keep on going, keep on changing, thinking differently. Because like, I mean, I was shocked. I said, wait a minute, like how many years has he had facial hair? Right? It was like even before they were together. So it was like, I think like 22 years or something, right? It was like this long, long, long period. And she had never even seen a photo of him in the recent past, even before they were together, of him not having any. But it was funny because I asked her, so what's the relationship between men that have facial hair and men that don't? And she said, well, my dad never had facial hair and he was always so sweet, so loving to my mom. And I said, okay, so there is an assumption there about men. And this isn't saying that all the guys out there need to not have facial hair. It's not that at all. It is just saying this is an interesting representation of her reality and reality creation. Okay. So just like her, you can be a success story, but you got to investigate who's the version of my person. Who do I associate them to being? Reminder here that your reality is not real. It's a holographic representation of your imagination. It's a figment of your imagination. Okay. I had another client a couple weeks ago who even added that in as an affirmation. My reality is a figment of my imagination. Wow. What am I putting into my imagination? And then her SP said, well, I'm only a figment of your imagination anyways, kind of like a joke. Okay. So your thoughts create you guys. Your thoughts are your jewels. Your thoughts are your basis to everything. Not doing a bunch of affirmations and then coming back to the frustrated, irritated, annoyed thoughts. That's not going to be good enough. You have to once and for all change your thoughts about you, change your thoughts about them, and change your thoughts about the two of you, especially when going gets tough. And especially when you hear a bunch of stuff about someone that's contradictory to who you're choosing them to be. But you can do this. We can all do this. Coming back to the power that we have and the birthright of awakening to being a conscious creator, because you are God. Okay. I'll leave you with that. Now let's go into the holiday season, wherever you are, even if it's not holidays, even if you don't celebrate holidays, putting self first, valuing self, taking care of self in brand new, exciting ways, and seeing it all unfold in all of our relationships. All right. I love you guys. Value yourself today. Celebrate who you are this week. Come back to what can I do for myself? And how can I truly change my story and stay on track with the new story of what I'm creating and what I'm manifesting? I love you guys so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.